MouseHunt. Welcome to Feedback Friday. It is August 22 in 2025. Hopefully everybody's doing well this morning. Hello everybody. Peter looks like was bright and early into the chat before we got started. Happy Friday to you as Peter. Tarako, welcome on in. JZ, Lisa. It's afternoon in Lisa's part of the world. Well, good afternoon to you. Terry, Anders, welcome on in. We got started. Christian there, happy hunting. Well, happy hunting to you as well. Hopefully everybody has been hunting at the table of contents, tracking down that Mythweaver with a little bit of luck in pursuit of a few rainbow nibs. Let's see how everybody is doing in that endeavor. Oh man, I'm at 132 nibs. How's everybody's nib counts looking so far as we're a few days into the farm to table event on the quest to get the rainbow quill? And look at that, I can sound the horn too. That's good timing. Whoa, I still got my 1000th draft derby armed, everybody. That's no good, that is no good. All right, we're gonna be a really good run here. Let's switch down to the final draft. Just wanted to take one hunt with that. I forgot to arm down. Yappy has 180 nibs. That's getting right up there. Hey, Scratchy Dude, KDM, Salim, welcome on in. JL, hello, hello. So far, farm to table is going well. Hopefully yours is going well also. Anders is at 116. Tarako's at 184. Ooh, actually 196, almost there. 140. And Christian already has the rainbow quill. Time to start stocking up on some inkwells then. Dallas 232. Looks like a lot of triple digits there. Oh, Slick's at 20. Had to get the silver and the gold quill first. Okay, well, hey, the farm to table event is beneficial no matter where you are in your journey at the table of contents. It'll help with all those upgrades. Looks like Vandit just got 200. Zapke's at 140. Well, that's a good segue into looking at the rainbow nibs with a few reminders. And Norm will join me as well for some of those reminders. Hey, Norm.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me back.
How's your nib count looking?
Well, I don't want to jinx it, but it's doing pretty well at the moment. Actually, I'm just about to take a hunt, and it was a bit of grammarian. But I am currently at 188. So I've done 5 runs so far since the event started. 3 of them were unlucky, but I've had 2 good ones, and I'm in the middle of a good one right now. So I'm like 3 Mythweaver catches away from hitting Rainbow Quill. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I think you're in the midst of a pretty good run right now. You know, it's kind of
your
mileage can vary.
Yeah, big time.
But there's a few reminders about the rainbow nibs, a few questions kicking around. So to clarify that it is indeed a table of contents item. So it has no use in the new areas. So there's no need to hold on to nibs. You don't need to be stockpiling them, anything like that for the falls or the acres or anything. You really can just, once you unlock that rainbow quill, the best use of them is purchasing the inkwell.
Yeah, and similarly, I've seen some people speculating that maybe there'll be another way to get rainbow nibs in the new area, and confirm that is not the case. Rainbow nibs only come from the Mythweaver at the table of contents. There's no way to get them in the new areas, and no way to use them in the new areas.
Oh, so that's good in case you're worried about having to hold on to them, or should I spend them now or later? There's no downside. Once you have that rainbow quill, you may as well be buying wells. And then when you open up or activate, or what's the call to action on the well, Norm?
Uncork.
Uncork, that's it. When you uncork the wells, you get a nice variety of bonus loot for the entire region, including, and you get some morsels, which will be useful in the acres and the falls. And what can you be using the morsels for, Nor?
So the metaphor morsels that you can get will be used to craft metaphor manchego cheese, which will be the sort of first tier of cheese in the 2 new areas.
Oh, so that's kind of a handy, have a little bit of a head start, be prepared a little bit.
And yeah, it's just a trickle of morsels from those inkwells. You'll be able to loot the morsels much more quickly and more plentifully, is that a word? I don't know, in the new areas. So yeah, it's just a little trickle to get you started for those who go above and beyond the rainbow quill and get some of the inkwells. But yeah, it's not going to be a massive difference compared to someone else who starts the area without them.
Yeah, Yeah, so nice little bonus, and see what you can. Some other things as well. Maybe you could use the farm to table loot event for. The processors as well. If you want to hunt the M1000, I'm going to try to shift gears a little bit. Maybe try to end some of my encyclopedia runs with some Thousands Draft Derby to get a few processors. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially once you do unlock the Rainbow Quill, then each M1000 catch gets you quite a bit further, almost 2 volumes per catch with condensed creativity going. So yeah, you can. It's a good time to stock up on processors.
This is ready for world domination. That's another important reminder as well. So when you do get that Rainbow Quill, the next time you catch the Mythweaver, you get the map piece for the new areas that are coming on September. I'm going to do this from memory. Is it September 2nd, Norm?
That's correct. Tuesday, September 2nd.
I can remember a date. And that is, if you didn't join us last week for Feedback Friday, so we did do a little bit of a preview of the Afterword Acres and then the falls as well. So a couple of little reminders of stuff we shared from last week as well. So if you get that map piece ahead of time, you'll be able to dive straight in. The acres is where your journey begins. That's probably where you should start hunting. And last week we did a little run through, even a little bit of playing on the HUD as well. Did a very brief demo. Chris is at 100 nibs after 3 runs. That's pretty good. Over 30
That's
per
good.
run.
That's good. I wasn't at 100 after 3 runs for sure.
Oh, Posh, if your volume's a bit low, you may need to crank it up. I got it all the way up on my end, so that's as loud as I can crank that gain. Wax, any plan for a platinum quill? I would say there's no immediate plans for another quill, but probably not. But who knows, right?
Yeah, never say never, but yeah, it is definitely not in the cards right now.
Yeah, Andrew's asking if it's the tier 1 cheese for the acres, right? Not the falls, but I think the answer is both, isn't it, Norm?
That's correct. It's for both. Both areas share all the same cheeses, and they each have their effects in both the areas. So yeah, as you're jumping between the areas, you'll be also jumping between the cheeses in both areas.
Yeah, so it's handy. It's nice. It reminds me a little bit of all the various tiers of queso, right? You could kind of use them in multiple areas for different purposes. When you're upgrading your pump, you'd be using, you could use flaming to get lots of nachor, and then later on you'd use your flaming to get materials to make wildfire cheese. So it's kind of similar kind of vibe there, right? Lots of tiers of cheese, but you can hunt in multiple locations with them depending on what your current goals are, what resources you want to prioritize at that minute.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
Last week, too, we did touch a little bit on some rewards in 2 new hydro traps, a tactical trap as well, some codices, and kind of how you earn those rewards as well. There's a few questions there as well. So, idea germs, pearls of wisdom, those are going to be 2 important areas to unlocking some rewards. Norm, how do those work in the falls and the acres?
Yeah, so they are reward currency items, as you've got there. They are not tradable. They are not jackpot drops, loot drops. They are something that you will sort of earn in large quantities over time. So initially they might seem a bit difficult, and then as you sort of develop in the area and develop your strategies and get better cheeses and things like that, then you'll be able to sort of make them in larger quantities and yeah, so that's basically it.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the nice things always about MouseHunt is every area kind of has a little bit of a different vibe, can appeal to different types of hunters. Obviously, it's always a slow and steady game playing 15 minutes at a time. That's kind of the universal truth through everything. But some players like kind of high risk, high reward. Some players like a little bit more slow, guaranteed reward. So definitely, if you like the types of areas where you have to collect a lot of something to then unlock a reward, and you build it up over time, and you're always just chipping away, making a little bit more progress, unlocking greater abilities, or kind of building up your resources so that you can use better cheese to get even bigger loot drops of that thing. And, you can certainly think through the game. There's some areas that have worked like that. If you like those types of areas, well, then this is right up your alley.
Mm-hmm.
My is struggling in Zugzwang's tower. Eh? Those rooks are a pain. They are. Those rooks
Mm.
are tough mice.
There's
Maybe
a
I.
rook crumble charm, isn't there? Isn't there
Yeah,
a rook charm?
the rook crumble charm. Yeah,
Yeah.
requires a little bit of micromanaging your charm there, but
That's true.
you always check the king's arms as well. Sometimes you forget about having those king's credits. Sometimes there's a few items you can pick up to help you out, whether it's activating the golden shield for a few days from a supply kit, or I believe amplifier charms as well. You can get those in the king's arm if you want to charge your amplifier a little bit quicker. They got their quill in 3 runs. Had a run at volume 25 with 20 hunts remaining. That's a pretty good one.
That's really good. Wow.
There's an interesting question. Kyle asking if anchor charms will work, and I'd imagine looking at the falls being water themed raised that question. But well, we can safely say no for a good reason, eh, Norm?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A perfectly fair question. Makes a lot of sense to ask that question. But yeah, anchor charms do not work in this area because they would kind of work against the mechanics of the area. We did, consider it for sure because there's definitely a similar kind of theme there. But yeah, ultimately the mechanics of an anchor charm just don't quite fit because the areas you're meant to sort of move forward and backward and control the flow of your movement with your cheese. So the anchor charm would kind of throw a wrench into that sort of.
Yeah, you kind of tried and just once we sat down to make it work, it's like, oh right, this doesn't even make any sense. What would they even do? Right? It's kind of
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the cheese is for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we went through the thought experiment of like, okay, if we're gonna do it, how would we do it? And none of it really fit.
Scratch and Dude is excited to collect a few more codices. It'd be kind of a nice little set. Makes me think of, maybe this is a long time ago. We get those sets of encyclopedias. They're all on the shelf beside each other. They have the same spine. You kind of put them all in order. Finishing off that Folklore Forest set kind of sounds fun.
Yeah, definitely showing our age with that one. I don't know. Do they still do those encyclopedia sets? I guess maybe they do. I don't know.
I'm sure they exist.
Yeah,
maybe their popularity has greatly diminished, but I'm sure they exist.
Yeah.
You remember getting like encyclopedia CD-ROMs? That was like the next incarnation of that.
Yeah.
There we go. I got some Rook Crumble using King's credits. So there you go. So hey, that might be just that little extra push you need to get past those rooks, but they are tough. A few other questions about rewards, but we might kind of save those to be surprises when the area unlocks. You can kind of explore and dive in. That's part of the fun too. When something new shows up, it's fun to look at it all together with your friends and your hunting group, and I think that adds to a little bit of the fun of a release, and from the vibe I get from hunters, certainly.
Yeah, and we're only about a week and a half away now, so it's just around the corner.
Bird asking about bait keep charms. That's a fair topic as well. So similar to the Draconic Depths, they have that new effect where they have a chance to work, and when they do work, they consume and you keep your cheese. When they don't work, then you get to keep your charm, but you lose your cheese. So kind of that's something we'll be keeping an eye on feedback going forward. But all in all, it seems like it just kind of leaves a few more doors open to us in terms of what we can do with different cheese progression without making, and while still having those charms very powerful and valuable, but they just kind of have a little bit of a different feel, so you can kind of manage your resources in a more meaningful way.
Mm-hmm.
How long can you overclock your trap with processors before it overheats? They must have a good cooling system, unless you got ARM.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Oh, nice. Yeah, well, that might be a bit counterproductive. Funny, but counterproductive.
Nope, that's it. Ship it, Norm. Your trap overheats,
all right.
And you got to arm the fan base, cool it back down, then you can switch back.
Nice.
Potato asking about how many mice will be released with the new areas.
Yeah, so it's exactly 30 with the falls and acres combined. So it's 15 in each area.
Okay. Yeah, an even split.
And
Okay.
yeah, but then plenty more for part 2, but we'll save that for another day.
Chris is excited about those codices. I haven't finished off the Valor Rift. A bit of a grind for those cores, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are kind of lofty goals. They were some of the first codices that came into the game that you unlocked in that manner as well. So, definitely kind of took some feedback from Valor Rift and trying to figure out where you want those to sit as well. Even the gold cost of them as well. I wonder if we had feedback as a little on the high cost, some of the gold cost of those codices. So.
Yeah, in fact, yeah, I think I held off on buying them for a while, mainly for the gold costs. I just couldn't part with my precious gold for a while. I think I've got them all now, but actually that reminds me, I should go check that.
Yeah, it's nice. The game changes, evolves over time as well. So it's often great about releasing things kind of episodically like that. Each area kind of builds on the last one. You can get feedback from previous areas and incorporate that into the future areas as well. I like to sound my horn again. I got the right cheese arm this time? Okay.
Good luck.
It's everyone's favorite mouse to see during Encyclopedia run. The Bitter Grammarian. A few questions about the rainbow spore charms as well. So that was kind of eagle-eyed hunter spotted those last week. I do have a super rainbow spore charm down below. And they will be tied to the reward structure of the area as well. I don't know if there's much else you want to share about the super rainbow spore charm.
No, not much more that I want to share. Like I said, only a week and a half away till finding out. But yeah, yeah, I like the way you phrase that. They are tied to the reward structure of the new areas. That's a good way to phrase it.
Maybe okay to share as well in terms of how they're exchanged.
How do you mean?
Norm's processing it in his head there a little bit.
Yeah. Oh.
Is it something you can share with other hunters?
I mean, we're so close to the release. I kind of want to
Norm.
not spoil it. We're so close. I mean, you're going to find out really soon. Here I'll give you one tidbit. Then don't ask me any more questions because I'm going to end up spoiling things I don't want to spoil.
Let me move to the edge of my seat, Norm. Hold on.
Yeah, and all I'm going to say is that you'll be able to see them on day 1, but you will not be able to obtain them on day 1. I think that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. I'll just put that on the stove and let it simmer and see what flavor comes out.
They'll take some effort, Take some effort.
Another question, do you need to save Nobel prizes for the new area? And no, I wouldn't say directly, I mean, you could be purchasing things with them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I plan on spending most of my Nobel prizes on the magnum opus because there's a nice big chunk of charms in there and also some gold and some other useful things. I think you can get Kenneth's creativity in there as well, but you can get some rainbow spore charms from there. So I mean, that's what I'll be spending my Nobels on, mostly probably.
Yeah. A little bit related there is if the pearls will have any use beside the traps, and I think it's safe to say there'll always be a use for them.
Yeah.
Some consumable way and something you can purchase that's consumable to keep on having something to spend them on if that's what you want to spend those on. It's always different hunters may have different decisions.
Yep, there are certainly many parallels between some of the other reward currencies in the area, and that they'll have their sort of initial use of buying the fancy stuff, and then there'll always be something you can spend them on forever if you just keep earning them.
Musketeer in the chat struggling a little bit to collect nibs, so definitely you'd want to aim at getting a high volume during that run as well. And then that removes even having to worry about will the Mythweaver drop it or not. You can see here, once you get to volume 20 and up, and it seems like this is something hunters figured out in a few days, was yes, it's guaranteed to drop. Once you hit volume 20 there and forward, every time you capture that Mythweaver, you will always get that nib drop. So. Could there be a charm to increase the attraction rate of the Mythweaver? When you think about how the encyclopedia works, if the Mythweaver's encounter rate was any higher than, say, 50%, the book would never come to an end. So, alas, there are some very hard limits on what the encounter rate of the Mythweaver could be without having to remove it extending it. You know, the fact that it adds hunts means it has to be below 50% or the run will never end. So you'd have to kind of reimagine how the whole area works to set it any higher than it currently is. But you know, all good things come to those who wait as well. I mean, I like to think MouseHunt's a game of patience, where your progress is measured in often weeks, months, and years, not so much minutes and hours. So. You know, it's nothing new over the course of 18 years. There's definitely been things you got to wait for, and you have these kind of the streaks of bad luck and adversity, and then there's times that you're, you know, the opposite is happening. And some of the fun part of it is speaking with your friends and seeing how are you doing versus how you're doing. Sometimes you're doing a little bit worse, sometimes you're doing a little bit better, and that's part of the fun as well. At least I think that's been some of the appeal of the game over 18 years. And, but fair enough, that might not appeal to everybody, but that's, I think, part of the identity of the game from the start of what made it something special. So. Michelle, just a way to relieve some frustration. Do a whack-a-mole. At least you get to fight back against the bitter grammarian. It's... Hold on, we have a trivia question. You want to go over that?
Let's do it.
Or did you want to reiterate what the effect of the rainbow quill is in the areas as well?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right,
We
cool.
meant to mention this last Feedback Friday and forgot. So we put it in the news post, but we'll just reiterate. Yeah, that when you unlock the rainbow quill, obviously it has this table of contents effect, but it will also have an effect in each of the new areas. And I'm gonna read this so that I don't get it wrong. So in the Afterword Acres, if you have the rainbow quill, it will provide a chance to prevent the blight from regrowing. And in the Epilogue Falls, if you have the rainbow quill, it will provide a chance to prevent getting pushed back by the current after failing to catch. So, you know, it's again, you can play the area without it, but it's a nice thing to have. So, you know, that's sort of the you know, the idea behind this pre-release event is an opportunity to sort of to go and get this new upgrade with the added bonus of having the double loot drops in the event, so you can get it, you know, twice as fast.
Yeah, so it's a nice to have, but not a must have either. You know, it's better to have it than to not have it, but you know, you can certainly play without it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell, the waiting and patience part of the game, 18 years doing this. I mean, it's something certainly we keep an eye on over time, but I always think that's been part of the identity of the game. What's been made special, what you know, a lot of people talk about and have fun with is it is, you know, a slow-paced game, right? It's something you just kind of, it's there in the background as you go through other things as well. So it's definitely not anything of instant gratification. And in some ways, I think that it almost teaches a valuable skill in life, you know, just a little bit of patience. You know, often jokes around "arm your patience charm" would be the response for so many years of I still haven't done this yet. It's like, arm your patience charm. I think that'll help as well. It's the best in slot charm sometimes to arm. So, but certainly, you know, we keep our ear to the ground if that's something that you know, the vast majority of hunters no longer find an entertaining part about the game. Then, you know, we'd digest that and take that as food for thought. As, you know, do we need to pivot the entire identity of the game? But as you'd imagine, that's a very large decision to make, to completely uproot what the slow-paced patience nature of the game is. So, Scratch and Dude asking if the rainbow quill will have an effect in the beanstalk.
No, there is no effect in the beanstalk. So in the beanstalk, you know, the beanstalk in the area, but also the fable of the Jack and the Beanstalk is a very strong gold theme, right? I mean, you know, in the beanstalk, there's the golden goose and the golden eggs and the golden feather and the golden key. So the golden quill thematically made a lot of sense to have that tying together, but there's not really any rainbow connection there. So yes, the rainbow has no effect there. Only the mythical giant king is only concerned with the golden quill.
He loves gold. Gilded. But now rainbow. This week's trivia question is rainbow related here. And there's a little bit of math happening as well. We got the math of a rainbow. Is there math that goes into a rainbow? But it's how many total ancient and spore charms, or each, how many ancients and how many spore charms go into creating a rainbow spore charm from scratch. So, you do a bunch of maps. You open up your chest, you have all these ancient charms. You make a whole bunch of spore charms, or you go to the marketplace and just buy a whole bunch of regular old spore charms. How many ancient and how many spore do you need to then go and exchange them all up and be left with no ancient, no spore, but one rainbow spore charm? It's more than 7. Seems to be the first guess.
Yeah. And specifically the base tier, like the original ancient charm, the original spore charm. How many of those in total?
Yeah, it is always a little bit fun when you get a higher tier as a drop, because that saves me from having to upgrade a few. But the folklore forest and the charm shops, you can be upgrading your spore charms as well. Floating islands is where you can upgrade your ancients, in fact, all the way up to rainbow. But you can upgrade those. If you do a lot of maps, you probably have thousands of ancient charms. Like, I'm never going to actually use thousands of ancient charms. Well, you can kind of compress those all down into rainbows, and you can get your spores to make, in a way, you can craft your ancients into rainbow spore charms.
Mm-hmm.
Pew Pew is the closest yet with the number 16, and I think that's involved in the
Yappy's got it. Yappy135 has got it.
All right, Yappy's the first with the correct answer.
Yeah, because the trick is there's one extra tier in the ancient line, because it goes all the way to ultimate ancient, then to rainbow, whereas spore just has spore, super, extreme, ultimate. So it's correct.
Yeah, definitely. If you do a lot of Slayer maps, I think you probably have lots of ultimate ancients. I'll put this link in the chat as well to click. Norm will disappear while I shift the window focus away from him, but then he'll pop on back. All right.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm going to go get my treat. I don't even know what's in this. Ooh, rainbow charms. That makes sense. Thank you.
Sour Mash has 50,000 ultimate ancient charms. I'm going to go on a limb and say you've opened a number of Slayer treasure chests in your day. One way or another. You'll be compressing some of those down into rainbows, because you probably don't need charms for 50,000 hunts. It's probably pretty good stockpile. You can crush those on down into rainbows, and if you have spore charms, you can make those into rainbow spore, and then going forward, maybe you can make them into something even better.
Well, I don't know, Dave. At 60 hunts per day, that's only 833 days.
Yeah, that's not too long. We're talking
That's
about
not too long.
A game where progress is being measured in years.
Mm-hmm.
You could use them in your lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's a good burner. The Ultimate Ancient is the kind of a good burner charm. You kind of just arm it when you're like, I don't need a lot of extra. I just want a little boost. Well, with 50,000, I think Rainbow could probably be your burner charm that you just sort of set it and forget it sometimes when you're not sure what else to use.
Yeah.
There you go, Yappy. Rainbow's my go-to generic charm nowadays. All right.
Good. It's a pretty one.
Jay-Z already asking about part 2 of the finale, the conclusion clips. We might save that for another day. Let's get these first 2 out the door before we go too much into detail of part 2.
Yeah, for sure. It's a bit too early to commit to any of that, releasing that sort of info.
They are linked, though, right? You'll be using similar resources from these 2 areas in Conclusion Cliffs. So you might surmise it's probably going to be fun if it's not too long of a wait for that, as you'll be having these resources and being ready to use them for something new, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's not going to be a whole year later or anything like that. Definitely not.
Just, ventured into the gray area of vagueness. I just wanted to put one foot into the vague column there.
Mm-hmm.
YX, long-term plans for new Rift areas still intact. No immediate plans, nothing concrete for sure. But as the Folklore Forest, the Conclusion Cliffs, it will kind of bring the Mythweaver's story and plot to a conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems like an aptly named area for that to happen in. So as you can imagine, we'll be looking at different storylines or kind of branching, either continuing existing storylines or opening up a new one. Too soon to say with any certainty, but definitely the Rift storyline has not come to an end. Far from it.
Absolutely.
There you go. Jonathan added 16 plus 32. So it is 32 ancients and 16 spores. How much you need of each.
Mm-hmm.
Easy, can we have a trailer for the finale? I think the trailer you're thinking of actually was player made. So, by all means, that would be a...
No, you made one.
For the original 3, yeah.
For the original 3, yeah. Yeah, for the original 3, you made one. It was cool.
Okay, cool is I think that's a pretty generous description of what
I liked it. I liked it.
I don't think I'm quitting my day job and going into marketing anytime soon.
We should do it. Honestly, every time a release comes out, I always want to do that, and there's just never enough time in the day. I always have these grand ideas for like, I could make a trailer because I have some editing history, and I always have these ideas of how I would do it, but there's just never enough time in the day.
And unfortunately, that's a reality for a lot of things. Sometimes it's a tough pill to swallow, and there's only so many hours in the day. Another bitter grammarian. Uh-oh. 2 in a row. Some are asking, so this is something good to maybe clarify, and actually why I want to start calling it Conclusion Cliffs and not the finale. It is not the finale to the game. It is the conclusion to the Mythweaver's story. And hopefully hunters find a way to thwart the Mythweaver's plot. I don't know if it's a spoiler, that probably will be victorious, but I don't know yet, right? We gotta see how hunters go. So I don't know. Maybe
no one ever catches the mouse. Yeah. I mean, maybe. I guess it's possible.
Hunters seem to find a way to be victorious in the end, but there's certainly no plans for a finale to the entire game. It's just bringing the Mythweaver's story to a conclusion, so a new story could begin. So we'll definitely want to. Trying to call, once we were pretty confident, you can always change the name. I don't think it's the end of the world, but we usually don't like to refer something by its name until we're reasonably confident that's the one that's going to stick. So you have to unlearn the old name and learn the new name. So, we're pretty happy with Conclusion Cliffs. I don't think that's going to change. So,
it's the final area of the Folklore Forest region. But as you know, there are many regions in the game that all have their own areas and storylines and mice, and there will be more to come in the future.
The Living Garden trailer, that one was player made, so it's certainly a worthy undertaking for any player who wants to make something like that. By all means, that's kind of, we enjoy seeing that stuff as well. Well, Norm, anything else you want to cover?
There's a question here. Will we be the mouse at some point? I mean, that's deep. That's deep. I don't know how to answer that. I mean,
it's happened at least once before. Has a human become a mouse? So
yeah,
there's a way to do it, I guess.
Maybe we'll have the Super Mario 2 ending where it was all a dream and we were the mice all along. You never know. You just never know. But no, I think I think we've kind of said all there is to say. Like I said, we're only a week and a half away, so kind of want to stop talking before I spoil something else I don't want to spoil. Like I definitely don't want to mention about the Super Ultimate Charm. That would definitely don't want to spoil that. So yeah.
I guess one more question there. Bird asking if condensed creativity will be used in the area. That's pretty safe to assume. Even if you look on the HUDs here that we've shared, you can even see condensed creativity and an ignite button over there. And a very familiar looking frame that all the HUDs have. So
Yep.
That is a pretty safe bet. Well, I guess that is a wrap then, Norm. We went over Rainbow Nibs as well, just like we said at the start there, saw a few questions kicking around. Should I be saving these for the new areas? No, you're all good. Once you get that quill, you can start buying wells. You can uncork those wells and collect the morsels inside. Those will help you a little bit with the upcoming areas yet to be released, but the nibs will not help you. So you're better off, you don't have to worry about hoarding them. You can spend them, start uncorking the wells, and actually see how many morsels you can stockpile. Just get a little head start in the area, just a little head start.
Yeah, and alternatively, you could use a portion of the rest of the event to hunt the M1000 mouse and earn some extra processors, and that aura would also come in handy in the new area, of course. Anything that helps your catch rate comes in handy everywhere. So, lots of opportunities once you've unlocked the Rainbow Quill for how you want to spend the rest of your event.
Yeah. And been getting double Nobel prizes. Increasing
Sure.
that's useful. You can stockpile some paper, some charms. That's a good note as well that Michelle's making there. No Feedback Friday next weekend. We're having a company get together. As we work remote, it's not too often we all get to stand in the same room and see each other in person there. So we're going to have a company get together next Friday. So there will be no Feedback Friday. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today, Norm, and fielding a few questions.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, well, have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Good luck with the remainder of your farm to table loot event and pursuing the Rainbow Quill. Have a great weekend. I guess I'll say it twice. Why not? Happy hunting. And we'll see you 2 weeks from now.
2.
You're a trap. Don't seem to mind it. You attract me. I'm a mouse, you're a cat. I don't seem to mind it. Soft and furry. Oh, and just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Just when you think you're safe, snap. I come back. You don't seem to mind it, but I'm a fool. Broke my back. You don't seem to mind it, 'cause you're so cool. And just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Ooh. And just when you think you're safe, snap. Turns out